Okay, you finally figured it out. You've had this epiphany. You understand that throughout your entire life you have been like a second class person, maybe third or fourth. You've been at the bottom of the heap. And you finally discovered, I call this an epiphany or coming into the light. You've had this moment of truth where you realize you're not the bad guy that you thought you were. You're not the loser that people said that you were, made you feel like you were. Psychologists have a term for this. I call it an epiphany. They have a different word for it. Their word is validation. And they define it like this: finding the truth in what we feel and think, period. That is validation. So let me ask you this. Have you come to a point where you have been validated? Because the people you are around, the people who live in the neurotypical hive mind, invalidating each other is what they're all about, because they're climbing, the social ladder. They want to be the alpha whatever. That's their nature. And I got to say that people with autism, we have some of that too, to be honest with you. We just don't understand how the social networking works. We're dysfunctional in that area. But the first thing we realized when we are validated is, hey, we didn't matter to these people. And does it matter that we didn't matter? Well, it hurt us. But now that we've come to the light, we didn't matter, and it doesn't matter that we didn't matter, because we know what the truth is now and what they think. Other than the fact that we may have lost some opportunities along the way, lost a job, lost the ability to form lasting relationships. A lot of people with autism never get married because they can't relate. So yeah, we didn't matter to those people. We still don't matter to those people. But does it really matter? I mean, we are who we are. I guess it does in some, but your opinions didn't matter to them. But do your opinions matter? Yeah, they actually do. So if their opinion is that your opinion doesn't matter, this is me speaking to me, then I should put it in first person, then my opinion should be that their opinion of my opinion doesn't matter. Does that make sense? Makes perfect sense to me. I'm hoping it makes sense to you. Whatever it is about you, your skills don't matter, your time doesn't matter, your personhood doesn't matter to many of these people. Now, there are some empaths who dwell within the hive mind, and they can see it. Now, one of the things, I'm probably going to make a video about comments that people leave, but one of the comments that somebody said is something to the effect that if people with autism lack empathy and people in the neurotypical hive mind have empathy, why is it that these people with empathy don't understand us? It seems to me don't understand people with autism. It seems to me this person was saying in the comment section, if they were the ones with empathy, they would understand where we're coming from. I read that comment and I said, man, that's just dead on. Why didn't I think of that? Well, now I thought of it because somebody put it in my mind, and I'm just passing it on to you. Number 2 is this. You have no choice. Okay, let's put that in past tense, may we? You had no choice. Now you do, because you've been validated. You have had your epiphany. So in the past we said you didn't matter to them, but you do matter. And now they said you have no choice because this is the way it's done in the hive mind. You don't fit in the hive mind, therefore you have no choice. One thing I've learned in my 70 plus years, I got lots of choices. And the fact that somebody else says I have no choice doesn't mean that I have no choice. One of the choices that I have, now follow me on this and see if you agree. One of the choices I have is to disregard your choice, to disregard my choice. That's kind of like the same thing we said earlier, isn't it? So I choose that I am not going to be manipulated by people who lack empathy in the hive mind, neurotypical people, and for that matter, other people who are autistic. I don't need to be manipulated by those people. Sometimes you can't help it. But by and large, I've got a choice. I'm not going to be manipulated. You know what trauma bonding is? That's when somebody will play the part of the empath. You know, they will love bomb you, and what they're really doing is love bonding you. It's using kindness to, well, to bind you. They're going to put you in the ropes of kindness. And next thing you know, you're falling in love with these people, or you're having a strong feeling of friendship with these people, and they were faking it the whole time. So, all right, so you've got this guy, he's your friend, or maybe he's your love interest, and they're faking it. You don't know it. They're really being kind to you, so they can control you. And then abruptly, they stop being kind to you. And it's a traumatic experience. And your natural inclination is to get away from this person. And they sense that, and what do? Well, they start back with the love again. More love bombing, more love bonding. They're reeling you in, and they let you. It's kind of like fishing. I'm not a fisherman, but from what I understand, let the fish run, wear them out, then reel them in. Then let them run, wear themselves out, then you reel them in. That's kind of like trauma bonding. So they sense you are leaving because they are abusive, and then they start reeling you back in with their kindness, their fake kindness, and their love. Guess what? You got a choice. You're not on a hook. The hook is imaginary. They have put you in the thought pattern that you were hooked, but it's all in your head. So yeah, you got a choice. You can leave. You can leave. Now, sometimes it's inconvenient practically to leave. I know a lot of people who would love to leave their job, but they got bills to pay. I know people who would love to leave a romantic relationship, but they've got a family to take care of. It's not practical to do that. But aside from that, yeah, we do have a choice. So number 3 is, when you were being manipulated by trauma from people in the hive mind, what you did is you surrendered. You didn't know it, but you were surrendering your sense of self. We talk a lot about that on this channel. And I've said it several times just in the last week. You know, if you were born and raised without the influence of the neurotypical hive mind, what would you think of yourself? Your self-esteem would, be normal, which is the objective, to validate yourself, to have an epiphany. What was the definition again? Finding the truth in what we feel and think. We surrendered that. We didn't even know it, but it was so persistent and so ubiquitous, I mean, just everywhere present, that we just thought, that is reality. Reality is that I'm worthless. I've surrendered myself. Then we have an epiphany and say, no, that's just their opinion. And their opinion is worthless. Now, if their opinion that I'm worthless is worthless, well, that's like two negatives, makes a positive. If their worthless opinion is that I'm worthless, then their opinion doesn't matter. We've already said that twice before, and now we're saying it a third time, just framing it a little bit different. So, we've had this thing where we surrendered ourselves, and now we have number 4. We are having the epiphany. We are having this moment of validation where we realize that throughout our entire life, just by the nature of the neurotypical hive mind, we have been invalidated for no apparent reason other than that's just the way they do it in the hive mind. I mean, it's their nature, not ours. Why are we allowing them to invalidate us? I'm going to validate myself, and what happens is typically they go too far. You suddenly realize that, hey, this game that we're playing, it's not fun. It's not reality. I'm trying to participate honestly. I'm trying to cooperate. But the people in the hive mind, the neurotypical people, don't seem to understand. And they don't understand, most of them. As we said earlier, there are some people with a strong sense of empathy. They come alongside of us and support us. And there's some people who are autistic who have a strong sense of empathy, effective empathy, and we support each other. And just like there are people in the hive mind who don't give a flying flip about us, I'm being polite in my terminology. Yeah, there are people who are autistic who are the same way. Let's admit it. We've probably encountered those people, but so what? I'm having my epiphany. I'm going to have my validation. I'm going to realize that truth is that what I feel and what I think is okay. I'm not a bad person because I'm autistic. Number 5 is we get liberated. I was going to say we get freed, but I think liberated is probably a little better term. We get liberated from walking on eggshells all the time. I have no idea where that term came from. If I was trying to teach somebody who spoke Chinese English and they wanted to know what that phrase meant, I would probably have a very difficult time explaining it. Or if somebody who translates for deaf people, I mean, how do you translate walking on eggshells? But we know what it means, right? That we're so concerned about offending these people who live in the neurotypical hive mind that we no longer care about offending ourselves. They have devalued us to the point where we are now devaluing ourselves. Well, I say now, we've been doing it for a lifetime. So the epiphany is we're no longer walking on eggshells. And every time I say that, I try to imagine what it would be like trying to walk on eggs without breaking any of them. Can't do it. Why bother even try? I'm not going to. I've had my epiphany. I've been validated. I found the truth. I know that what I feel and what I think is not determined by other people, but by reality, and I've got my sense of reality. It's been restored, and maybe it was stolen from the days that I was a toddler. I got it back. Sorry, people in the hive mind, but you go about your way, doing your thing. I'm okay with that because I realize it's nature and there's nothing you can do about it, and you probably don't even want to because you're probably perfectly content living there, and I'm okay with that. But that doesn't mean that I have to walk on eggshells just to please you and to appease you. Okay, sometimes I do. Might be the boss wants me to walk on eggshells so I don't get fired. But at least I know I'm doing it and I don't have to. I could walk out. I know the truth about me. Can't fool me anymore. Number 6 is let's stop and think about it. Now, let's say, for example, it's January 1st, 2024. I know that's in the past, but just for illustration, let's imagine it's New Year's Day, 2024, and you're asking yourself this question. Or I'm asking myself this question. I really don't give advice. I have ideas to share. I'll tell you where I'm coming from, but, you should. My advice is you don't take my advice. And that's the only advice I give. Hopefully you're learning and you have your own ideas. But where am I going to be a year from now? If it's New Year's Day 2024, where am I going to be New Year's Day 2025? I mean, not geographically, not physically. What house am I going to be in? Who am I going to be with? But mentally, emotionally. In my journey as a person who has autism, where am I going to be? Am I still going to be walking on eggshells? And the answer is no. I mean, I'm still going to be autistic. I can't stop that. And I'm still going to have some of these problems where my mind is scrambled, and when I try to talk to people, it comes out like gibberish, like a word salad. That's still going to be there. But what's not going to be there is I'm no longer going to be invalidated. I'm going to understand that it's perfectly okay to be the way that I am. I didn't make me this way. I'm not responsible for, what nature has bestowed upon my life. My height, the color of my hair, it's natural. My gender, my nationality, did I say my height? My weight? Okay, I can do something about that. But all of these things, my intelligence level, I didn't choose to do those things. If I could have chosen, I would have had an IQ of 200, if I could have chosen my DNA, I would be physically fit without ever having to go out and take a walk every single day. I'd be a whole lot better looking than I really am. But I don't have a choice in those things. I don't have a choice about being autistic. It's the way that I am. I'm okay with that. But when it comes to validation, or having that epiphany, living in the light, being aware of who I am and that I do have choices, I don't have to walk on eggshells, that their opinion doesn't matter, that I do matter, yeah, that's totally different. That is something I can control. So let's tie all this together. And that is this. Think of a food that you like. I like honey. Yeah, it tastes pretty good. I like ice cream, particularly chocolate. My wife makes really good noodles, so I like her noodles. Now, supposing somebody fed you food that was really good, and people actually do this, by the way, and they put something toxic in it, something that is poison, intentionally to make you sick. Maybe they're trying to get back at you for something, or maybe they're trying to kill you, for some nefarious reason. I mean, yeah, there are people out there who commit murder, and they use poison to do it. And so we had this relationship, we thought, with people who are neurotypical and live in the hive mind, and we kept trying to, experience the good times, which we had. We talked about that a moment ago, the trauma bonding. And what we found was that usually, even when they're kind to us, there was this taste of something that is a little bit toxic in there, and then we found out that the relationship, not always, but sometimes, was poison. I mean, not all honey has poison in it, not all chocolate ice cream has poison in it, not all of my wife's noodles, I don't think any of them have poison in them. But that doesn't mean that they can't be poisoned. And we go back and we look in hindsight that a lot of the relationships we have, we thought were good relationships. Particularly, you start out a job and, yeah, this is working well. You start out a friendship, yeah, this is working well. Or a love, romantic episode in our lives, and yeah, this is working well. We find out, it's been poisoned, it's toxic. And what has happened is once we, in hindsight, I'm talking about a year from now, hindsight, as we look back and we realize, yeah, there was something toxic in that. And suddenly we realize that, we're not okay with being poisoned, but we're okay with the fact that we figured it out. That we're away from it. We have escaped it. We're no longer in that abusive relationship or that abusive position. So yeah, we do matter and we do have choices. And yes, we don't have to surrender our sense of self. We don't have to be invalidated. Yes, we can have epiphanies, and we don't have to walk on eggshells. And, in hindsight, we can say, if there's toxicity in the relationship, I'm going to be on the lookout for it. And I'm going to make sure that I'm not poisoned by what do you call these people? Just call them bad people, I guess, who don't have empathy, who dwell, by and large, in the neurotypical hive mind. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you all next time.